Well, running the CAMINO, you can see the oil pressure is pretty good. So running about 1500 RPMs. The engine's still warming up. You can see the temperature gauge is way down. Oil pressure is good, so kind of doubt that's a rod bearing. Somebody told me it could be a piston skirt crack, which I don't know. Now bring the aisles down and watch. I didn't take a real good look at this thing yet, but maybe it is nothing. Possible. I figure if you got oil pressure, it's not as noisy now when it's cold. So I'll let it warm up and see what happens here. But, you know, originally I thought it was an exhaust problem or something, but I'm going to take a look. There's no flex plate or nothing. It sounds like a rattle coming from the bottom. You can hear the top. It's nice and quiet. It does seem to be, it's warm, it's cold right now. It does seem a little more rougher. But, well, maybe I'll hold off on the engine because I'll find out what the problem is for sure. I didn't invest much money on parts. I did $20 for a oil pan gasket that you can reuse. I think I'm definitely going to pull down the oil pan though, because I want to change that rear main seal, and I also want to clean out what's in the oil pan, look for any kind of metal. But I have noticed a little bit of metal in the oil before. I know that's kind of normal with oil cars, but like right now it's getting kind of quiet, so I don't know. Son of a bitch, the noise has virtually disappeared. It was pretty damn noisy before. And it also felt like I was losing power going down the highway. So I don't know what's wrong with this thing, but I won't trust it on long trips. Maybe it's okay for 10 or 20 mile trips, but I'm not sure. Well, I'm going to tell you this. I found out that this car was made in Georgia. I got the build sheet on it too. It was bought from a construction firm in Pennsylvania, somewhere real around Allentown. And we lived up in northwest New Jersey, up in Sussex in Warren County. Basically a conservative area of New Jersey, believe it or not. And that's a conservative area of Pennsylvania. But it was born in Georgia. Jordanville, I think it is. So I'm surprised. I thought this thing was going to blow up. It was noisy as all hell. I don't know what that was, but you know what? Maybe there was a problem with, I don't know, maybe an oil gallery got clogged up. I really don't know. I'm going to pull that pan down and take a look at it though. That's crazy. That's good news. Because I ain't going to jump and buy a new motor for this thing if I don't have to, because I'm just not going to take it on long trips. But I was looking at the VIN numbers. I'm very much surprised by this. Very much. I was looking at the VIN numbers, and so I got an H for a 305, and it did confirm the casting number in the block. And I know there's a little bit of I reused the oil. I used the valve cover gasket, so a little bit of smoke comes off the top there like that, but no big deal. I'm happy with this. I don't know what the hell's going on. Huh. Maybe I can pick up the cannon barrel with this. That's a nice deal. So, that's why I was getting the trailer ready for that. And anyway, it's got an H code, and I verified the block casting number in the back. That is actually, it's definitely a 305. They sold it to me as a 350, so I always thought it was a 350. But the engine there was something done to this engine a long time ago, because there's a little pad on the front of the block on the passenger side that was milled down, so you cannot see the VIN number. That's why I never knew what was in there. Then I found out about the casting number in the back, and I looked them up, you know, with the internet. We didn't have that back then in the early 90s. So I never knew. I always thought it was a 350. So it's a 305, but there was work done on it because the block was milled. Now, what kind of work? I don't know. Maybe overheated. The block was milled. They put bearings in it and new rings. That's why I got one bearing that was 2 under and one that was 10 under. So maybe they put a reground crank in it. Maybe it's a 10 under. So I was guessing. Now, I don't think it sounded like a rod bearing. And the fact that it went away is weird. But the thing is, it wasn't just the noise. I was losing power, and it was making a lot of noise going down the highway. So I ain't driving this sucker down the highway no more. I mean, I'll take it. So, oil pressure, I don't know how accurate these gauges are, but it's still cold. So, I mean, when it's warmed up, the pressure will go down to like 10-15 pounds. I mean, it's sitting, well, that's, you know, that's an exaggeration because it's still cold. But, I don't know. This is really making me happy because I was thinking, oh, I'm adding up the money. You know, 350 is like $1,700 bucks. Plus you got incidental costs with it, you know. And this is what I was also thinking of. I got the right, you know, I was able to play with the VIN number and stuff that I can order a 350 and put an H on there or an L instead of an H in the VIN number. And it would fit in here. The manifolds are the same. Then I started looking up, I'm going to research the 66 to 77 is a 4-bolt main block. I'm going to find out if these manifolds bolt up to it, but it's also a left-hand driver's side dipstick like this. If these manifolds bolt up to it, I'd get that block instead, but I'm not going to get nothing if it don't need it. But I would need it if I'm going to make a long trip, obviously, unless I determine exactly what that problem was. This is weird. Didn't expect this. So, yeah, the other thing is with the older, I think the 66 to 77 4-bolt main, it doesn't have the provision on the head for the EGR, which would not be pollution correct for this. But the other side of it is that I plan to put the HHO 21 plate in this thing, which would make the pollution lower than original. Like, in other words, putting this kit in there with that 21 plate HHO, feeding into the carburetor. I'll just drop the pan on this, do the main seal. I'm not hearing any clanking now at all. None. But you know what happened? This occurred after I put this rear main, what do you call it? It's a stop lead for engines, gasket and seals. That was the thing I did right before this happened. So maybe that crap did something until it got mixed up in the oil. Possibly. Maybe it did some damage. If it's making clanking noises, it did damage. But, you know, I'll tell you what, I'm going to run, if this thing seems to be okay, I'm going to run engine restore, which that has a can in it. I'll put 2 cans in the damn thing. It's a lot cheaper than a motor. You know what I mean? As long as it's not broken. If it's worn down, I'll run that. I'll do that. I'm surprised by this. I didn't know this was going to happen. I thought it was going to be loud as shit. I thought it was going to blow up. It was very loud before at idle. And I'll put 2 cans of engine restore in it. And I'll also run the 1040 Rotella T4 plus a quart of, what do you call that stuff? Lucas. And if the rear main seal fixes up by itself, maybe I won't touch that. But I think I am going to drop the pan and clean everything out of here really good. That's when I'll do the oil change again. I don't hear any noises. None. A little exhaust noise. On this, I put the converter kit to change it from like the 3-wire, because you got a turn signal and the brake light are separate, and on this the turn signal and the brake light are shared. So you got this electronic connector, and I noticed on Amazon probably about 20% of the people complained it didn't work right. Well, it didn't work right for me either. When I hook up the brake wire line, I don't have tail lights on this, whether that's plugged in or not. And when I plug it in, I'll have the tail lights and the brake lights working on that, but nothing on here, but I'll have the side marker lights working. And the running lights, and the headlights and all that. And the directionals will work. So what I had to do was I had to not hook up the brake light wire on that. So I'll have my lights regular on this. The lights will work on here for the running lights. The turn signals will work, but there'll be no brake lights on the trailer only. So what I did was I went on Amazon and I ordered a cheap set of red marker lights that are 4 inches wide. They'll fit right in here. They'll be protected from this. They'll just bolt them in there. I'm going to run a single wire from here up to there and run it directly to the brake light there. So it'll only work with this. I'll have the brake lights, the tail lights, and all that crap. So this thing, and I don't know what's wrong. These, I heard you can make, what do you call it? Relays that actually will work with this thing without having that electronic box that they sell that converts it over, because they're very cheap. They're made in China. You're better off going and get from Radio Shack some components, getting some relays, but then you're going to have like a box of things like about this big. But I'd rather have that as long as it freaking works. But for now, the only thing I think I'd ever tow with this anyway is this. And any other trailer I put on this, it would still have the turn signals, and it would have the four-way flashers, and it would have the running lights on this. It just wouldn't have brake lights on the trailer itself if I just plug this in. So I'm going to add the brake lights. I mean, for less than, I think it's like $12 you can add them. So quiet as a mouse. I mean, it's got a little exhaust leak. I do not believe this. So this happened after I put a can of, and I double checked the can because I said to myself, did I put something in there for the radiator that was stop leak? I said no. I looked at it and said no, it was for the engine. I don't know what happened here. I don't understand this, but I do not trust this thing for long trips. I'm not going to take this up to Cross City and Dixie Defenders, 98 miles away. I might take it to get my cannon barrel. I won't take that, I'll take this. I'm also going to check under here, see if I got a leak. Still hear a little bit of a rattle down there. I don't see nothing leaking. I don't know. I'm going to take a look. I'll stop this and take a look. I don't see any leak coming out of there anymore. I tried some of that Blue Devil stuff, it didn't work, and I tried this other stuff, and this stuff seemed to work. Now there's a rattle back here a little bit with the exhaust, but there was something coming out of the bottom. I don't know. I gotta double check this thing really good. Maybe when I found out this thing was made in Georgia, General Lee and General Jackson and Jeff Davis came down and used their spirits to mechanically go inside that engine and fix it with new metal or something. I don't know what they did. So, I don't see any leaks. That was dripping every once in a while. I would use a whole quart inside of like maybe just about 200 miles. So when I went up to Dixie Defenders, I put a half a quart in it when I got up there, make sure I didn't run it low, but I was always afraid of a rear main seal leak because they could go real fast all of a sudden. This one don't look like it's leaking no more. Well, little Georgia, the Georgia El Camino's freaking going live again, man. That's crazy. Well, I'm gonna do some more research on the 350s, and I ain't getting one. I ain't spending money on one. You know, the reason you keep money is you don't spend it. I've been breathing a lot of that HHO gas, and I'll tell you one thing, it's giving me a lot of strength. So, now I don't hear any noises at all. I don't know what the hell happened. Maybe something got clogged up with that stuff. I don't know. I don't know what the hell the deal is, man. I did not expect that. So, no noises. I really am freaking surprised. Yeah, it could have really been something stupid. I heard a noise one time coming back from the, what do you call it? The Lee Jackson Ball in Oxford here, or Lee Jackson Banquet. And I got back and I thought it was coming from the front. And so I'm putting my, you know, I did it at night. I was checking it at night, and I couldn't have the time to freaking spend all the time checking this thing. So I put a screwdriver, you know, long screwdriver on a water pump. I says, man, that sounds like it's coming out of the water pump. Let me check it the next day when it's light out. What was it? It was the $1.56 fan belt I bought on clearance. Started going, and that was the noise. So I put a new Gates fan belt on there, and I got an extra one. And I got one that's Gates and one that's Delco Remy. Now, I ain't changing no motor if this thing's not broke, but I will have to change a motor if I'm going to make long trips up to Tennessee with this thing, because I will not trust it. But I have taken this across country twice. I took it from California up to Utah, which is not a long, short trip, a lot of mountains. I took it up and down the East Coast, like 1,000-mile trip both ways, probably a dozen times. When I first had this thing, it was my main vehicle, so I was driving it every day. Now today, I use it often, but I only put maybe 3,000 miles on it a year. This is why I only did the cam. I mean, if this is my daily driver, my only car, there would definitely be a new engine in there. But I'm not somebody this is how people go broke. They freaking spend money on cars too much. So I'm getting away real cheap on this. I mean, I had to put a battery in it, so I put a Group 27. And put my own tires on. I do my own work. And you know what? Keeping this car is smart, because over the years I've put all new front end parts in it. It had a replacement transmission. It wasn't rebuilt, but it was in excellent shape. It's still in excellent shape. It's got the new clutch and new flywheel. It had all the stuff in the rear end redone. It's a posi. It's got 4 new tires on it. The brakes are all done. Everything works on it. All the lights, all the gauges, all the turn signals, the horn, and all that kind of stuff. The heater works. Everything, all the little parts. An engine is only one part of the car. It's the little parts that can really clobber you. It's got the new starter motor, the radiator's good, everything's the fuel pump, the carburetor's changed and stuff. All this other stuff, got a new master cylinder in there. So all these little parts that can really nickel dime you, they've been changed over the years, and nothing on it is broke. The next thing I got to do is, I got those seals for this. I'm going to put these on here. Seals by the window, the gasket. So, but nothing on it is broke. So putting an engine in is not a big deal. The other thing is that if you keep upgrading your car, eventually you're going to be driving a car without a steering wheel that is going to be paid for, where you're going to, in other words, drive it with carbon credits on your SIM card or your Apple card or your microchip that's embedded in your body, is what they're doing. And you're going to be limited to where you go. You're going to be tracked. You already are tracked, but you're going to be tracked with the car itself, which is the way it is now. Then you're also going to be limited where you can go at any time. And then you're also going to have a Google probe stuck up your butt when you're sitting on a seat to make sure all your biological functions are working. And if you're not thinking any thoughts that they don't like. So they'll control you by zapping you with your Google probe anytime you think, oh, I don't like the freaking stuff that's on YouTube anymore. You know what I mean? So, that's why I'm keeping this old stuff. Got the 78 El Camino. It's 85 Suzuki Jimny 1300. It's like a Samurai with 1.3. And I got my Harley Davidson 1989. So, the Confederate flag on the back. So, 99 Sebring. And that thing's still fine. So, you know, you could put gazillion dollars into cars. Personally, what I want to do is get property in North Georgian mountains next. And I didn't really want to spend the money on this engine thing, but I'm gonna research and find out that the one that's the 4-bolt main, that's the 77 and down, uses these same exact manifolds. But if not, you know, I could figure out what the cost is of new headers and get the 4-bolt main 350. I don't want to do that right now. I'd rather do that if I get remonetized on YouTube. Then I'll say, okay, engine, an M22 transmission, and whatever. But they, oh, by the way, they pulled one of my videos. You wouldn't believe this. I don't want to make a separate video on this, but they pulled one of my videos. I said, why Jews need to arm themselves to get out of New York City. They said that was hate. I said, what's wrong with Jews arming themselves? You see what's going on in New York City right now? God, I mean, there's a lot of stuff. I mean, they, you know, they pulled that as hate. I said, you would think that was not something that's hateful in the least. So who the hell really is controlling YouTube? Isn't that amazing? It's like they're freaking out there in La La Land. But anyway, I'll take a look at this and start it up later and see what happens with it. And I got my little, this is a, I just want to mention here, this is a thing I had one of these for a gazillion years. It's called a battery minder, battery charger. I've had one of these for many years, and actually finally one of them broke because I think I don't know what happened with it. It's I made a battery last with this thing, and a battery I got in 1996 lasts for 17 years, and it was a cheapie too. It was the economy version of the Duralast. It was the cheapest battery. We're using this battery minder. I probably should have had this on this before, because my battery that was in here exactly 5.5 years, just out of the warranty, is the same as this one. It was a Group 27 Gold from Walmart, which is actually made by Johnson Controls, the same exact battery manufacturer that makes all the other batteries and stuff. Probably wouldn't have broke. That thing actually does a hell of a job. It desulfates them. So I don't know. I'm not going to take this on long trips though. You know, 15, 20 miles, fine. It's got oil pressure, so I don't know what, the noise is going away, so I don't really know what's happening. I somehow I think it's related to when I put that can of stuff in there. But I put it in there when it was running, and I ran it. It wasn't making noise, and I idled it for probably 15 minutes to get it circulated. Then I was driving up on a highway not too far. I was driving probably a total of 20 miles, and I was only on the highway for 9 miles exactly. Well, actually, I was only on the highway for about 4 or 5 miles, and I started hearing the noise, and I slowed down. When I got off the ramp, I'm hearing, I was like, holy smokes. But I noticed I let it cool down for 3 hours or 2 hours or whatever it was. Maybe it was an hour. Maybe it was an hour. I was waiting for the Colonel John Marshall meeting, which nobody showed up. And I don't know what's going on at that camp, but anyway, they got a website up there. But I got back in it, and it was like when it would idle, it would go tack, 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 really bad, like from the bottom end, not a lifter. Because the cam and lifters was changed, it's definitely coming from the bottom end. It was really noisy. But when I put the idle up a little bit, it went away. So I was thinking, oh, the oil pressure is low or something, maybe, I don't know. And so when I got home, I was still doing that. And I figured today, when I didn't start it up since that time. And today I started it up. It was making a noise a little bit at idle. Even when it first was clacking around, it wasn't as bad as it was, and then it disappeared now. So I don't really know what the hell's going on here. Don't know, but I think it might have something to do with putting in that can of stuff. So, you know, I probably did some damage to the engine. I really don't know. But if I'm going to run this thing again, after I pull, first off, I'm going to see if that main seal seals up really good. It looks like there's no drips coming out of it at all. If that seals up really good, I'm not getting a new rear main seal. I'm not bothering it. I'm not touching it. It works. To hell with it. I'm going to pull down the oil pan. I'm going to use my really good gasket here with the new bolts and stuff, which is this, and paint the oil pan orange. I got the paint. I don't think any rod bearings are bad. I mean, I think they changed the rod bearings. You know, if these rod bearings and stuff and all that stuff was changed out back a couple years before I bought the car, the way I maintain it, they should still be good. That's what I was figuring. That's why I did just the cam. But I don't know about the pistons. Somebody said that could have been a cracked piston squirt. But when I'm in there and I'm looking up I could look up at the cylinder walls and I could see if there's scratches or gouges in them. That'll be another thing I could look at when the pan is down and see if there's metal in there. And also I can clean out the screen on the oil pickup, which probably no problem. And clean out everything in the pan really good. Put the new gasket on it, have it all sealed up really tight, and I'll put 2 cans of engine restore, because that stuff does work for like worn engines that aren't like broken engines. In other words, if you got some wear in the parts, it fills in some of the wear. So it'll fill in some of the scratches on the bearings and stuff, and you know, the piston skirts and cylinder walls for minor stuff. So put 2 cans of that in there. I used the 1040 Rotella oil, or I'll probably use the what do you call that stuff? The zinc oil for breaking in cams. I'll do that. Plus the quart of Lucas, and I just won't drive it real far. So, because the longer I don't buy an engine, the better. That's the way I look at it. Because I figured if I was using this 3,000 miles a year on average, it's going to take 15,000 miles to go over 5 years. It's going to take you 5 years to do 15,000 miles. I mean, I would reasonably expect that the engine to last 15,000 miles more. So I don't know what the hell's going on here, but I'm hoping I don't have to freaking pay no money for this garbage. But I'm going to do some research, and if I do this, I'm going to see if I could put the earlier version of the 350 with the 4-bolt mains in it and do it that way. But I'd rather start doing some other junk, do the paint on it, the cami paint, and you know, finish up the Canon. Got pretty much everything I need for the Canon stuff, and I need to pick up the barrel, and that's why I was doing that trailer, because I thought this thing wasn't going to be able to pick it up, but it looks like it can. I don't know. I'll be test driving this around a little bit later on, maybe tomorrow or something. Good news though, like holy smokes. I don't want to spend money on stupid damn. I got to put the chrome trim back on here. I don't want to spend money on a freaking motor if I don't have to. But I wish when it first started up, that was the noise. You kind of heard it, but it was actually not as bad even when I first started it up. It was only doing it at idle. I don't know what the hell that was, man. I don't know. It never did this crap, but maybe it does have something to do with that gasket sealant crap I put in there. But like I said, I ran it for a while before I got it up on the highway. As a matter of fact, the highway was about, when I put it in the car, it was in the engine for 15 minutes idling first at high idle. Then when I finally used the car, actually, before I even got to the highway, it was about, I don't know, 10 miles away. Then as soon as I got on the highway, I don't know. And also, you know what? This thing does tend to run hot going down the highway. The temperature gauge says about 220. I don't know what the hell the deal is on that, but you don't want to go too far with this damn thing. So, I'm not going to put a motor in it right now, that's for sure. I'm not going to do shit with it. I got other things to do. So, And I am breathing a lot of that HHO stuff, and to tell you the truth, it's giving me a lot of energy. I mean, I got to do my energy on other things. I'm still improving the websites. The Confederate Heritage website, the Colonel John Martin Marshall website, the Marion Lard Artillery website. I'm going to be getting the MarionLardArtillery.com website up and running. That's another separate one with a domain address. And I'm going to be refuting a lot of stuff in the major media, and I'm going to be getting active with combating the major media. Not necessarily through YouTube, because that's like way too controlled. It's going to have to be live in person with references to the media and in person school speeches and all this other crap, because I can't, the internet is a total controlled apparatus to the max. And, I'm going to be working on that. I don't want to get on with this engine thing right now, man. I know you can do it. It's theoretically, it could take you a day to do it, but theoretically always turns into more than a week. Busting your ass for 8 hours a day, because there's a million things that you run into, usually. Depends. It's like, I got the engine hoist. As a matter of fact, got it right in here in the shed. I got an engine stand. It's gonna be a little more of a pain in the ass doing it with clutch, though. Automatic's easier because you just stick the flex plate and stuff. Here's the engine hoist. There's an engine stand right there. Right here. I got the stuff. And that's a transmission jack. So if I want to move back to transmission first, that's probably what I would do. I'd probably do it that way, but I could see this taking more than a few days. Plus, you never know with the exhaust. Freaking something could break on it or something. Snap a stud and you have to get a part. But, and marking everything and stuff and painting everything and painting the motor and stuff. I mean, you can just clean the motor and paint the motor. That could be freaking killing most of a day when you get the new motor in. That's why I know this is not going to be like you just slap it in. Maybe it is a couple days, but with me, I'm going to be nitpicking stuff. So it's going to take me more than a week to mess around changing this shit. That's why I don't want to do it. And, that's if I'm busting my ass on it every day. So, I don't know. Plan of action is to see what happens, and also, I'm not gonna drop the pan rod away because they still got that sealant stuff in there, and I want to make sure that main sealer, that main whatever bearing seal is sealing. So when I get it back, when I drop the pan, I'm not going to even bother with changing the rear main seal. I don't want to mess with that because I haven't done that kind of shit in a long time, and I'm like a little leery. If it works, leave it the hell alone. So it's got 4 new tires on it, basically almost brand new, probably 3,000 miles on them. They're Cooper made in the USA snow tires. The posse, and we got chains in the back and stuff. What I'll probably do though is I'm going to pull these seats out. If I don't have to paint this dude's engine, I'll pull these seats out, sew these into here, get some of the upholstery glue, and so these glue on here nice and flat, and then put some cheetah print covers over it and glue that to these covers, and change the rugs, and do a little more of the chassis saver sealing on the floor. All the holes in the floor have been fixed. They've been welded in and stuff. So I'm going to change this out in here, but anyway, I don't understand it. I'm freaking flabbergasted. I do not understand it. So it's back to being good for the kitty food here.